Welcome CSC 121 to EX9. This is Turtle Polygon Colors. I guess that's the name we're using. And if this looks familiar, you might have worked with the turtles in Intro to Computing, where we worked with turtles to introduce functions and different aspects of the Python language in Intro to Computing. We're kind of reinvestigating turtles here just to make it, one thing, make it a little more fun, because instead of just having console output all the time, we get to see something visual. Plus, we're going to reinforce some of the things we've learned about lists, about random numbers, about even functions, and doing some math calculations using for loops. All these kind of things we're going to build in here and just do a couple things with turtles. And this is a finished product here, so if I run this thing, this is set up to actually set up a color of a turtle, and a random color actually, so it could be any random color from a list that's created, and then also a random number of sides. So it seems to be doing red all the time now. Oh no, there it goes. Now it's doing like a magenta color. So it's pulling from this list. So it could be doing red, blue, green, crimson, lime, magenta. And every time I run this, it's doing a random polygon, meaning it has a different number of sides. And what that means is these turtles, they actually start here. This is the 0, 0 point right here. And they typically move to the right, and that's called moving forward. It's a method that they'll use to move forward. You just call it forward. And if I look down here, I can see it says forward, and I have a variable length. I don't have the number in there because my length is 70 right now. So it's moving forward 70 pixels, and then it's going to turn left, and that's going to be a rotation degrees. And right now it's set up, we have a formula set up here to do 360 divided by sides. That's how it's coming up with that random kind of turn. But if it was 90 degrees, then it would go up and start to make a square, and you do it 4 times. If it was any other degrees, it would kind of adjust a little bit and then do it that many number of times. But we'll start off from scratch and actually start off making a square, and then build up to making polygons so that we get the idea of how to do that calculation. Also, at the end of this, if I run it one more time, at the end of this, after the turtle draws its shape, you can see it moves down here and spins around, and it has to lift its pen up and then spin around, and then we even have to position it in the middle, because otherwise it would just end up where it started at 0, 0. So we kind of moved it. That's why we have some numbers in here like length divided by 2. So it's halfway, whatever the length is, it's halfway over, and then it's also down halfway, whatever the length is, just to position him at the end. And then also he's turned. So that's why it says turn 90 degrees, because he's turned up this way here. And also notice that it says begin fill and end fill. That's how it takes a shape and it makes that fill. The pen is like the little outline that he makes, and that's there by default. The fill you have to put in, or else it won't naturally fill it up. And we just gave the turtle color and the shape color all the same thing. You can make that different. You can have line colors. You could also change the shape of the turtle. So he's not just a turtle, he could be an arrow or any number of shapes. If you need to know anything about any of these things for turtles, as we start working through this, you could just, if you just search turtles Python, the first hit that'll come up should be the Python site, the documentation, and that's just the regular python.org. And if you go into the documentation, it has a thing for the turtle module, and the turtle module has 2 classes in there, one for the turtle, also one for the screen, which we're not going to use quite yet. But if you go down here and you need to see some things about the turtle, you know, things like its speed, things like forward, if you need to know anything about it, you know, if you're like, how many, can I make it go faster? You can click on speed here, and you'll see that there's different settings for speed. So you'll be able to see the arguments that go inside any of these methods that are built in for the turtle. I'm going to start this from scratch. I might actually leave this open here. Actually, let me open my repels in a new tab. And then when I go into here, when you open a new repel, and this is actually good to know, you can't just click on Python. You have to scroll down and click on Python turtles. If you find Python with turtle, that's a special built-in functionality to create that little screen. And there's not many online IDEs that do that. Repellet is one of them, and Trinket is another. And if you click on here, we'll kind of start from scratch, and I'll just call this EX9, and I'll call it turtle, and I guess I'll call it colors, because we're going to put colors in there, and I'll put a V because I'm recording a video. And I'll start that. And this is side by side right now, and I guess that's okay. I'm going to leave it like that. The one we did in class, we actually entered an input to make the number of sides, but for this one, I'm just going to leave that out because it was too hard to go back and forth to see him, because then you couldn't see the turtle being created. I'd rather just see the turtle being created. But what we're going to have to do here is a couple things to start. We're going to have to import turtle to get the turtle going here, import the turtle module. And then after you import the turtle module, we're going to use a random number too, but I'll just hold off on that. We have to instantiate or create an instance of the turtle from the turtle module and it's from its class. So if we create a turtle called Tom, I'll just make him Tom, and we'll give him a name. It's kind of a variable name, but it's actually its instance name of the turtle. And we're going to say from the turtle module dot part of the turtle class. And the turtle class gets a capital T, it gets parentheses around it. So now we create Tom. Now if I run it, see if I have anything. I don't have anything yet because we have to give him some more attributes. We can give him things like tom.color. We could give him a color and put some kind of string color in there. You know, even if I want to start him off being green, I could run this and I may say a little arrow there, and that's the default shape of the turtle. If I wanted to change his shape, I could go tom.shape and give him a default shape, and that's also a string, which would be, you can give him the turtle shape, which is a little more interesting to look at, and there he's the turtle shape. Now these are kind of attributes. These are kind of starting off here, but if you want him to do things, I'll just make a space here, and I'll say tom.forward, and this will make him move forward. And you could give him any distance. I'll just give him a distance of like 50 right now, and that's what he does. He just kind of moves forward, and he has kind of like his tails down, and it's called the pen, and he kind of makes a line when he goes. So now if you did something like tom.left, he turns left, he rotates, and you could put in degrees in there. So if you wanted to have him turn 90 degrees, let's say he's going to make a square, and let's make this a little bigger. I'll make that 100 to move forward 100, and he's going to turn left. He would go in that direction, then he'd turn. And you can see what's going to happen here. He's going to now repeat these two operations or these two statements. He's going to move and turn. And then if we want him to move and turn, move and turn, move and turn, we'd actually make a square. So instead of, we could copy and paste these 3 more times, or what we can actually do is do a for loop. We could say for I in range, and this would be something where we'd have to indent these. Now, whatever range we put in here, for example, if we're going to make it happen 4 times, we could run this, and there you can see he's going to make a square. Now, we didn't fill it yet, and actually the fill wouldn't be in the loop here because it's actually going to begin fill and end fill after this. So anything that's happening here in the for loop is repeating that many times. So we have these 2 statements here that are repeating 4 times. So that's part of our for loop here, and that's what we're kind of building on. And what we're going to do too is kind of put variables in here so we don't have to keep changing these numbers here. We'll keep variables kind of outside of here. You can also use arguments to throw in. Once we create functions, you could use arguments to kind of throw in there too, but for now we'll just kind of use variables, and we'll make them so we could have a random number of sides and a random color and things like that. We'll keep building on this, and that's kind of the fun of working with turtles. So let me take a break here, and then for part 2 we'll continue to kind of build these turtle shapes.